Spring 1775, near Concord, Massachusetts. Local gunsmith Isaac Davis puts the town militia through basic training.
American patriots knew that they were doing the right thing. You're starting a birth of a nation. You know, you had to really believe in what you were doing.
You got to keep this clean here, sir. You keep that clean, it'll save your life. You don't?
If war comes, this will be America's first line of defense. A volunteer home guard, with weapons paid for by local citizens.
Gentlemen, it's looking good. It's looking good. Let's have some breakfast and move out.
They're farmers, blacksmiths, and store owners. A fighting force of ordinary Americans.
The militiamen of any of the colonies were made up of just its citizens. It was a citizen-based protection unit. And some of them had some skills, but some of them were just the carpenters. Some of them were just the mason or the blacksmith. I mean, these were the guys that they had something at stake to protect their colony. So they started to form together, just trying to help protect each other.
Every town across the colonies has its own militia. But now, they're preparing to defend themselves against the British Army.
Better than yesterday now, better than yesterday.
For 6 generations across Massachusetts, men are expected to serve as militiamen. In Massachusetts, a third of all men between 16 and 50 are ready to bear arms at a minute's notice.
Excellent, good shot. We keep this up, we're gonna give those redcoats a scare, all right?
The British will not stand for any armed resistance. April 19th, 1775. After midnight, 900 redcoats leave their barracks in Boston for Lexington and Concord, about 20 miles away. Their orders: arrest the rebel leaders and seize their weapons. News of the British attack also reaches Paul Revere. His midnight ride will alert local militias. Revere rides ahead of the British troops. His warning spreads from town to town across the New England countryside. Paul Revere reaches Lexington in time to spread the word.
The British are coming. We need to warn the militia. Get them together. All right. Come on.
By 5 in the morning, 60 militiamen line up. They're commanded by a farmer, John Parker. They're faced off against hundreds of well-armed and highly experienced British soldiers. What happens next will transform the world forever. Sunrise, April 19th, 1775. On one side, 60 men, poorly armed and barely trained. On the other, hundreds of the most powerful army in the world. Men who have only been active for a handful of months versus an army that in the past 20 years has fought on 5 continents and defeated everything in its path. For these rebels, the fight is for nothing less than freedom itself.
These guys were revolutionaries, they were scallywags, they were rebels. Some of them were gentlemen farmers, some of them were overeducated, some of them were undereducated. It really was the birth of a nation.
The Lexington militia gathers on the village common, dairy farmers and shopkeepers. But also among them are free African Americans and slaves.
It is a unique experience that African Americans have had in the military in America. African Americans fought for the country even before it was a country.
African Americans like Prince Estabrook.
You give me training, you give me a weapon, and I can perform as well as you can, then there is no power on earth that's going to hold me down forever.
Stand your ground. Don't fire unless fired upon. But if we mean to have war, let it begin here.
Captain John Parker once fought on the side of the British. A quarter of the men standing at his side are related to him. No one knows who fires the first shot at Lexington. But it's the shot heard round the world.
I mean, the Redcoats, that's intimidating. The way they move, the way they march, the way they execute on that open space. I imagine on some level for the guy who works the printing press, this is overwhelming, beyond anything you could possibly articulate in words.
Prince Estabrook is hit in the first volley. No army in the world can stand toe-to-toe with the British, let alone a ragtag militia. The British fired up to 4 times the rate of the militia. Within minutes of the first shots fired at Lexington, 8 Patriots are dead, 10 wounded. The American Revolution has begun. The Redcoats reach Concord at 9 in the morning. Acting on a tip-off from colonists loyal to the Crown, they raid the militia's arms stash. But the rebels have got there first, hiding almost everything.
That's good. All day. Let's go. Come on. Rest in.
They continue to search for weapons, giving the Patriots more time to spread the word. The militia gathers just outside the town of Concord. By late morning, more than 1,000 have arrived from the surrounding villages. Their plan, to defend their towns against the British.
Let's go!
The British soldiers left their barracks 15 hours ago. And now, they face a 20-mile march back to Boston. Shattered lives. An occupied city. Blood in the streets of Boston. And now Lexington. A people unified in the fight against tyranny. Now, the Patriots have their chance. Gunsmith and militia leader Isaac Davis takes a bullet through the heart. The Patriots seize the upper hand and intend to make the British soldiers pay. They shadow the Redcoats' march, firing on them the entire way. A third are killed or wounded. Seven generations after the first settlers left England, in search of prosperity and freedom, their descendants will have to fight for these rights. Standing in their way is the might of the world's greatest military superpower. Not about to give up their colonies lightly.